Processed chips. In the 1970s, a food scientist named Howard Moskowitz was hired by major food companies to find the perfect formula for their products. What he discovered, and what the industry quietly built its entire model around, is the bliss point, the precise combination of salt, fat, and engineered texture that maximizes craving without ever delivering satisfaction. The ability of the product to dissolve rapidly in the mouth, which tricks the brain into not registering that you've eaten. Your stomach gets the calories. The crunch itself triggers dopamine. The salt amplifies it. The fat sustains it. None of this is coincidence. The shape, thickness, salt distribution, and fry time of a Pringle were each optimized individually over years of testing. The Pringles slogan was, "Once you pop, you can't stop." That was not marketing. That was a technical specification. Sugar. In 2007, researchers at the University of Bordeaux gave rats a choice between cocaine, a drug they were already dependent on, and sugar water. The rats chose sugar. Almost every time, sugar hijacks the brain's dopamine system in the same way hard drugs do. Every time you eat it, your brain releases a hit of dopamine and then downregulates its own receptors, meaning you need more next time to feel the same effect. That is the clinical definition of tolerance. The withdrawal symptoms, irritability, anxiety, headaches, intense cravings, are also real and documented. Food companies know this. The specific ratio of sugar, fat, and salt in processed food is not an accident. Sugar is legal, subsidized, and in nearly every processed food on Earth. Cheese. In 2015, the University of Michigan ran a study asking participants to rank foods by how hard they were to stop eating. Cheese came first, above chocolate, above chips, above ice cream. The researchers wanted to understand why. The answer is casomorphins. When your body digests casein, the primary protein in dairy, it breaks down into casomorphin fragments that cross the blood-brain barrier and bind directly to the brain's opioid receptors, the same receptors that morphine binds to. Cheese contains compounds that function chemically as mild opioids. The effect is deliberately amplified by how cheese is made. It takes roughly 10 liters of milk to produce 1 kilogram of cheese, concentrating the casein to a level far beyond what any mammal would encounter in nature. Every time you find yourself returning to the fridge for one more piece, that is not a lack of willpower. That is opioid receptor activation, caffeine. This is the most widely consumed psychoactive substance on Earth. More than alcohol, more than nicotine, more than any drug, legal or illegal. Roughly 90% of adults consume it daily. Caffeine works by blocking adenosine receptors in the brain. Adenosine is the chemical that builds up over the day and makes you feel sleepy. Caffeine doesn't give you energy. It blocks the signal that tells you you're tired. The brain responds by growing more adenosine receptors to compensate, which means over time you need more caffeine just to feel normal. Skip your morning coffee, and within 12 to 24 hours, the headache, fatigue, and inability to concentrate that arrives is not you being tired. That is clinical withdrawal. The World Health Organization officially recognizes caffeine dependence as a medical condition. Chocolate. The Aztecs called cacao the food of the gods, chocolatl, and reserved it for warriors and royalty. What chocolate does is unusually complex. It contains caffeine and theobromine, both stimulants. It contains phenylethylamine, a compound the brain also releases when you fall in love. It contains anandamide, a molecule that binds to the brain's cannabinoid receptors, the same receptors activated by cannabis. And it contains sugar and fat in a ratio that sits almost exactly at the human bliss point. No single one of these compounds is present in a high enough dose to cause addiction alone, but together, hitting 5 separate neurological pathways simultaneously, the combination produces a reward signal so broad and layered that the brain lights up in a way few natural foods can replicate. The fact that it melts at precisely human body temperature, releasing everything at once, is almost unfair.